everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today is October 2nd. Can you believe it? It's already October. We're on the second day into Q4 of 2024. It's also a Wednesday, which means it's time for Midweek Motivation, the video every week where you get to watch me lift, do some work while I give you a little motivational speech or some tough love, whatever I feel like y'all need this week. Hopefully you brought something to work on too so that you can listen to me while you're also working and we're all being productive. Being as we're just getting into Q4, and I'm hearing again and again in reseller groups, reseller chats, the List Perfectly listing parties I go to, sales have been slow for a while for a lot of sellers. And there's varying reasons. There's theories that sales are slow on Boxery because of the changes that were implemented in April. There's theories that things are slow on Poshmark because the live shows are where all the buyers are at buying things and they're not shopping the closets as much anymore. There's theories that sales are slow on eBay and all platforms because of the economy. And we can't discredit that theory because if you're an actual human being who eats food and has been to the grocery store anytime in the last few months, you can see that the prices of everything continue to go up. If you've been to the gas pump, you can see prices continue to go up. If you've been to a restaurant, etc., I could go on. But the cost of everything around us is going up, and most folks' wages are staying the same. So when the cost of everything is going up and people aren't making much more money, that means they don't have as much discretionary funds to spend. That means they're not going to open their wallets to shop online and buy wants. When the average American is struggling to pay for their needs, their rent, their utilities, food on the table, they're not going to be online looking for wants. If you're selling items that are luxury items, you probably haven't felt the slowdown of sales because you're selling to that 1% of people who are not affected by things like recessions and the economy being in a slump. They still have discretionary funds to spend. If you sell in categories that are needs versus wants, you're probably still doing okay. If you're selling used clothing, you're probably still doing okay because most folks who don't have those discretionary funds to go shopping at shopping at the mall, my goodness, am I old, but they don't have the money to go out and buy new clothing. So they're online looking for secondhand, gently used clothing. And that's also the trend right now with millennials and Gen Zs is to get secondhand clothing. It's all about sustainability and not buying new, not buying that fast fashion. But also remember, there are millions of used clothing sellers on every platform. So everything is oversaturated and there's a ton of competition. You may be okay if you're selling secondhand clothes, but you have a lot more competition. So you're having to jump through more hoops. Maybe you're listing more items. Maybe you're running more sales. Maybe you're doing coupons or newsletters on eBay. Maybe you're selling items at a little bit less than you want to on offers. But there are categories and there are ways to come back from this or to continue to be okay. But if you're selling all wants that are not geared toward those with money, you may not be doing okay. I wanted to preface, I do have some motivational stuff to tell you guys, but I wanted to preface it with saying all of this because I want you to know that if your sales are slow, you're not the only one. And it's okay. It's not okay because we all need to make money to pay our bills and put food on our table, but it's not like you did something wrong. I do know resellers who have been selling for decades that are veteran sellers, seasoned sellers, who have always made X amount of money, let's say 6 figures, who suddenly this year find themselves not quite reaching 6 figures. And some of these sellers are being more discerning about the items they choose to source to list. And some of them are selling higher priced items and aiming for a higher average sale price. And some of them are listing 2, 3, 4 times more than they used to, and they're still making less. So it is not you, it is a struggle all across the board. I know there are people out there who will tell you that they're doing okay. And if they are actually doing okay, then whatever they're selling is something that isn't affected by the economy. Or they're just somebody that needs to brag and show off. I do sometimes feel that when, like during a summer slowdown, when everyone's saying, oh, sales are slow, there always has to be that one person that comes in waving their flag and waving their narcissist flag, basically, and saying, I'm doing okay, I'm the best, I make $1 million an hour on Amazon and I'm just fine. Don't listen to braggarts. Listen to honest people. If you're listening to honest people, they're going to say, hey, my sales haven't really slowed down and here's why. They're going to tell you honestly. They're not going to give you their sources of where they buy their stuff or maybe even exactly what they're selling. But an honest person who is not a braggart, who is not a narcissistic jerkwad, for lack of a better term, they're going to say, my sales aren't slow and here's why. But someone who just comes in to pound their own drum in your face when things are bad for you, to let you know how things are great for them, I would take what they say with a grain of salt. Sometimes they say the louder someone protests, the more you must question what they are protesting. Wealth whispers, money talks. Think about folks who spend their entire lives trying to project this image of themselves on social media, and then you find out behind the scenes they're miserable. I watch a lot of Dateline. I know what I'm talking about. But yes, there will be people who are doing fine, but don't allow someone else's boasting to make you feel bad about yourself, because real sellers, real people who aren't out here just to get accolades and show off and get attention, we're here to tell you it's happening to everybody. It's almost standard at this point that you're going to have to work harder to make the same amount of money as you used to. Will this be forever? No, it won't be forever. If you look back in history, if you know anything about economics, if you've ever studied recessions and times of bad economy and slumps, we always come out of it. We don't know how or when, but there always is a turn, an upturn, and then a turnaround. But what can we do right now? Well, the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that tough times are not here to stop you. Okay? So when things get tough, don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Do what you need to do, though. I want to seriously preface this. If you have a family to take care of and you were selling full-time and it's not making enough money, get a part-time job, get a side gig, and don't feel any shame and don't feel like you failed. You're not a failure. The economy is the failure right now. It's not you. And you are successful if you do whatever it takes to take care of your family. If you're single and you're still managing to pay your bills, and maybe you're having to sacrifice things to keep doing this job without having to go work for someone else or get a job outside of the house, and that's what you're okay with, that's okay too. But I don't want you to feel like you can't go out and DoorDash or drive an Uber or even get a part-time job at the library or get a part-time job bagging groceries, if that's what you need to do. At the end of the day, each one of us is responsible for a different family. And that's going to look different for everybody. But we're all responsible for whomever we live with or gave birth to or who we take care of, and that includes pets. If you took on the responsibility of taking care of a pet, it's just like having a kid. You have to make sure that you're making enough money to feed and care for them and take them to the vet like you take your kids to the doctor, and so on. So at the end of the day, whatever your responsibilities look like, those are your responsibilities. And whatever you have to do to pay your bills and put food on your table is absolutely fine. Don't let anybody make you feel any different. You're not a failure if you are putting food on the table and taking care of yourself and your family. That is a successful person. It takes a successful, brave person to say, listen, whereas I used to make, say, $5,000 a month on eBay, I'm only making $1,000 or $2,000 now, and I'm going to go do DoorDash at night. There's nothing wrong with that because, again, this isn't forever, and so you can always go back to full-time. I just want to preface that because I've had a couple of conversations in the last few months, even one over the summer, with some very good reseller friends who were very upset and in tears in some instances because they had to go get a part-time job or they had to take in more work in home, like transcription and stuff like that. And they felt like they were a failure because they weren't making the eBay or the Poshmark business or the Macari make the full-time money that it used to. But you're not a failure if you do what you need to do. Let me add a little bit of tough love here. If your online selling business isn't making the amount of money it needs to make, and you're not paying your bills, and you're not putting food on the table, and every other reseller around you and all the other resellers in the world and in the community are all doing just fine, and it's Q4 and everybody's making money hand over fist, and you're failing, then I would say maybe it is you. Wouldn't call you a failure. That's rude. But I would say maybe look at what you're doing. If you're sitting around and you're not listing enough each day and you're not sourcing the right items and you're not creating the correct titles and taking good photos and doing all of the best practices for the industry, then yes, it is your fault that you're failing. But if it's happening to everyone and we can all look at the economy, I can go to the grocery store right now and tell you the differences in prices from today and 6 months ago and a year ago. It's not you. It's not your fault. So you got to do what you got to do. Like I said, tough times are not here to stop you. They're here to test you and make you stronger. So what do you need to do to make more money reselling? Even if you have to go get another source of income, which is fine, because you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your family. The economy might feel like it is squeezing everyone a lot tighter right now, and sales might not be coming in like they used to, but that doesn't mean it's time to back down. It means it's time to do what we need to do, but you also have to adapt, refine, and maybe push a little harder. Remember when we all started our reselling journey? It wasn't easy in the beginning. When you're first building a business, it's tough. Even Keith and I worked 7 hours, not 7 hours, we worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Now we work 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, because we're maintaining what we've built. But back in the beginning, we really had to push hard and build. And so now maybe it's time for us to work a little bit more each day or one day a weekend to give it that push. You almost have to look at it like whatever you're maintaining, if it's slowing down enough that you're concerned or not making enough money, then that's when you need to do that push as if you're going into growth mode. And I did mention this already probably several times, but I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. There are dozens and hundreds of resellers out there who, if they're being honest, would tell you they are working more than ever before to make the same amount of money. They're listing 2, 3, 4 times what they used to make the same amount of money. Everyone is doubling down to make the same amount of money. More work, less money does not make sense when you own a small business. But it is what it is with the economy the way it is. So now we all have to get creative. Thankfully, we are into Q4. So getting creative in Q4 is not that hard. What do you have already listed or sitting in your death piles that can any way, shape, or form be holiday? Is it a velvet dress? Is it a black cocktail dress? Market it for New Year's Eve parties. Is it a sparkly, shiny silver pair of heels or a necklace? Market it for Christmas and New Year's Eve parties. And you can put all this stuff in your title. Anything that's new with tags, in a box, unopened, games, puzzles, books, coffee mugs. I could go on, coloring books, crayons, whatever it is, market it as gifts for Christmas and put it in your titles. Even if you sell jewelry that's used, whether it's fine jewelry or costume jewelry, market it as gifts. Q4 is the one time a year we get to be as creative as we want to be, and we can take a look at our inventory and say, well, this is the snowman. Let me call him a Christmas plush. This is a red skirt. Let me call it a holiday skirt. You can be so creative. So go through what you've already got listed, change your titles accordingly, and then go through your death piles and get that stuff listed. Make sure you're doing all of the industry best practices, good photos, optimize your pricing strategy, refresh your listings, write good titles with good keywords, send offers, do free shipping, all of those things. Another thing we need to think about right now is customer loyalty. It does matter. And I know there's folks that say, well, sellers shop on eBay, and they think that they're just buying from eBay and they don't understand that they're buying from a small business or a store. Make them understand. Send them coupons. Set up newsletters. Make them understand that they're not buying from a huge conglomerate called eBay. They're buying from the Hippo Hut. They're buying from a small business run by two partners out of the house called the Hippo Hut. And here's your coupon, and here's your newsletter, and please support small business. Don't underestimate the power of reaching out to your current customers and encouraging them to buy again and buy more, especially if you're in a niche. If you sell all women's clothing, you can encourage them to come back and buy more with coupons and reminders like newsletters. I already touched on this, but I want to repeat that every dip is temporary, so markets do recover. The buyers will return. And smart resellers like us, myself, everyone listening, everyone in my Facebook group, everyone that I surround myself with in listening parties and on Instagram and in the Facebook groups, we all are smart enough to understand that we will weather this storm. Even if you have to get a part-time job outside of the house, even if you stay full-time at eBay and you're listing 4 times the amount that you used to, even if you've never bought wholesale in your life, but suddenly you find yourself buying wholesale because you can get a bunch more inventory and get it listed, whatever it is that you're doing, however you're pivoting, whatever you're doing to weather this storm, when that market recovers, when these buyers return, when people have discretionary funds and start opening up their wallets again, we will be standing tall and we will be ready for sales. So if you go from 2,000 active listings to 5,000 active listings and folks are still shopping the way they always did, well, you can maintain what you used to, but when those floodgates open, you're ready. You're ready to sell more. And I would like to add, and you have probably heard me say this before, but it also bears repeating. A lot of what I say, I think, bears repeating because it's super important for you to hear it. Most people are very irresponsible with their money, unfortunately, and they will spend recklessly during Q4. Everyone should probably be following Dave Ramsey or a budgeting plan of some sort and saving money and not going into debt and spending all the money on the cards just for a good holiday. But the reality is most people are irresponsible with their money and they will spend recklessly. They will spend money they don't have during Q4. We will benefit from that because they will be shopping. Just remember that tough times don't last, but tough resellers do. And we're going to do whatever we have to do to get through this. And whatever that looks like for you, I support you. I salute you. I'm here for you. I would never judge anyone for doing what they need to do to take care of their family within reason. Hopefully it's legal and you're not hurting anyone else. But if you have to take on other jobs, extra work, if you have to start selling stuff you never thought you would sell before, whatever it looks like to you, weather this storm. And that when we come out the other side, it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, hopefully. All right, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comments below. I will be more than happy to talk to anyone or have conversations with you. In fact, join my Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. It's a very positive group of other resellers. We're not toxic in there, I promise. We're all very nice. And you can get some support in there and some positivity as well. All right, go be productive. Go do what you need to do. Keep those bills paid. Keep those lights on. Keep your family fed. And I'll see you next time. Bye.